Welcome, everyone, to our deep dive into liberalism, its roots, its evolution, and its challenges in the modern world. Let's jump right in.
Absolutely. It's a super fascinating journey from the Enlightenment ideals to today's debates. What's the core idea that ties it all together?
Well, at the very core, liberalism is all about individual liberty. It
Right.
champions the idea that every individual has rights that essentially constrain how governments can operate.
So we're talking about those natural rights that sort of emerged during the 17th and 18th centuries?
Exactly. Think of it as coming out of the Enlightenment. Intellectuals, like John Locke, argued that rights, life, liberty, and property
Yes, indeed.
are natural. And these ideas fundamentally shaped the way modern democracies evolved.
Right. And Locke's views on the social contract laid the groundwork too. Governments derive legitimacy from the governed, right?
Absolutely. Locke proposed that if a government violates those natural rights, citizens not only lose trust, but, well, might even have the right to resist.
That really was revolutionary. It's amazing to see how those ideas spurred major events like the American and French revolutions.
Yeah, definitely. Those revolutions, in many ways, established constitutional frameworks based on liberal ideas, embedding principles like individual rights, rule of law, and, checks and balances into their systems.
Speaking of checks and balances, that ties into classical liberalism, doesn't it? With an emphasis on minimal state control.
Right on.
Yeah.
Classical liberalism really pushed for limited government, limited interference, free markets, and the protection of civil liberties.
And that's where Adam Smith comes into play with his invisible hand idea, huh?
Yeah, Adam Smith argued that self-interest could pretty much lead to collective benefit if markets are left to operate freely.
Exactly.
It was a revolutionary way of viewing economic interactions.
But then with industrialization came new challenges, right?
Oh, absolutely. Industrialization brought vast inequalities, which classical liberalism hadn't really accounted
Yeah,
for.
true.
That's what gave rise to modern or social liberalism.
So social liberalism pushed back by saying the state actually should step in sometimes to even out the playing field?
Exactly. Social liberals argue that government intervention is necessary to ensure equal opportunity. Think, for example, about public education, accessible healthcare, and social welfare programs.
Right, yep.
It's a bit like making sure everyone gets a fair go.
That does bring two sides of liberalism into tension, the minimal state approach versus state intervention for social justice.
You got it. There's this inherent contradiction. On one side, you have the idea of letting people be completely free in the market, and on the other, ensuring that freedom actually translates into a real equality of opportunity.
Absolutely. And then there's political liberalism too, which emphasizes the rule of law, freedom of speech, and minority rights.
Right. Political liberalism is all about institutional frameworks. It's like building a system where power is spread out through separation of powers and checks, ensuring that no single entity can easily override individual freedoms.
Yes, that's key indeed. That institutional aspect was really crucial in the formation of modern democracies, wasn't it?
Absolutely. And it's not just internal politics. You see liberal ideas stretching globally, too.
Yeah, right.
Global institutions like the United Nations or the European Union are built on liberal internationalist principles, emphasizing cooperation through trade and diplomacy.
It's kind of like they believe that if countries are interconnected, the risks of conflict diminish.
Exactly. Liberal internationalism argues that trade and interdependence, well, essentially reduce the likelihood of war.
That makes sense. But of course, liberalism isn't without its critics, right?
Definitely not. Critics on the left mention that liberal capitalism, with its reliance on free markets, can produce significant inequalities and foster corporate dominance. They argue
Yep,
that
exactly.
the very freedoms that liberalism champions can sometimes lead to unintended social stratification.
And then you have critics on the right who claim that liberalism, by promoting too much individualism, erodes tradition and national identity.
Correct. They worry that liberal policies might undermine cultural cohesion and national sovereignty. It's like
true.
sometimes the push for change comes at the cost of long-held community values.
I'm curious though, do you think these criticisms hold enough weight, or are they, more ideological stances?
That's a great question, and it's kind of a respectful debate here. I mean, while critics raise valid concerns about inequality and cultural breakdown, liberalists counter by saying that the framework's emphasis on pluralism and dialogue is essential. But
I can see that
sometimes
point.
it feels like liberalism tries to be everything at once and ends up stretching itself thin.
Right, it's like a balancing act between ensuring free markets and protecting the vulnerable, huh?
Exactly. It's like trying to juggle multiple priorities. Spontaneous market freedom on one hand and structured social safety nets on the other.
Yes, indeed. And in today's world, with rapid technological change and globalization, that tension is even more pronounced, isn't it?
It's definitely intensified. Liberalism now faces pressures from nationalist and populist movements, which argue that liberal institutions haven't quite kept pace with economic and cultural shifts.
Yeah, I hear you. So, while liberalism has laid the foundation for modern pluralistic societies, some say it needs to evolve further to deal with these challenges.
Exactly. Especially as we move further into the 21st century with issues like identity politics and rapid globalization shaking things up.
Right, for sure. It's interesting. When liberal systems work well, they protect freedom of expression, safeguard minority rights, and ensure stability. But if they falter, people might lean toward authoritarian alternatives, looking for that clear order.
That's the crux of the debate. Liberalism provides a robust framework for ensuring a diverse and open society, but it must continuously adapt in response to both internal and external pressures.
Absolutely. Really, it's like liberalism is a living, breathing philosophy that's constantly reinventing itself.
Yes, and while its multifaceted nature can lead to internal tensions, that diversity of thought is also what underpins its resilience.
Yeah, right. Going forward, it'll be fascinating to see how liberal democracy adapts to modern challenges, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. The real test will be whether liberalism can maintain its commitment to individual rights while also addressing the needs of a rapidly changing society.
Yep, absolutely. And with the debates on both sides, whether from within or outside the liberal camp, we can expect a lot more dialogue and evolution in its ideas.
Exactly. And that's what makes this discussion so vibrant and ever relevant. Thanks for joining in this thorough exploration of liberalism, its history, its challenges, and its steady march forward.
Thanks for the insightful chat. Looking forward to our next conversation where we tackle conservatism and its counterpoints to these ideas.